Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
Because I don't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
So I heard a lot of Trump voters are upset because they're realizing that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing. And they are now realizing that it's all going to be going away under Trump if Trump gets his way. And to that, I say this is why we have been calling you idiots. The information is there. We've been telling you. You didn't want to listen. This is why we've been calling you idiots. This is exactly why. Because you refused to listen, and now you fucked over yourselves and a whole bunch of other people. So, I don't really have that much sympathy for you. It sucks. And I am so sorry that you're going to have to go through that, in the sense of, like, I don't think anyone should have to go through that.
Look, she's being much kinder here than she could be, because all it would have taken was 30 seconds to just Google that one question to get the facts. But no, people fell for some weird vibes, and now they're walking around with confused looks, not knowing if they'll even have insurance in 30 days.
Which is why I voted for Harris, so that people wouldn't have to go through that.
So I saw this tweet floating around and it had a lot of thoughts. Apparently a bunch of y'all on here are breaking down because y'all just realized that Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. Continue to read the tweet. The heartbreaking part, so many have pre-existing conditions. One man admitted he voted for Trump without knowing it was Obamacare that allowed his mother with stage 4 cancer to get treatment. This is what happens when misinformation wins out over facts. But can I tap in about this whole situation? Because there's some other stuff that's going on here. It's not the fact that it's just misinformation. It's the fact that too many people were way too comfortable voting away other people's rights, but when it came time to learn about the things that they had done, the things that their hands had wrought, the things that their vote had rendered, they realized that a lot of their things are on the chopping block. And now they're in their feelings.
Look at them, now they're getting all emotional. But where was that emotion when they were taking insurance away from someone's mother, or someone's child, or someone's entire family? Now that they realize they might also end up on the list of people without insurance, they've suddenly become emotional. I think you shouldn't laugh at someone else's misfortune because you might find yourself in that same situation.
Now they're getting emotional. Now they're getting scared. You see, when it was other folks, they didn't really have this concern. They didn't really have this care. Or worse, they were gleefully voting against other people's rights and other efforts to show care to other folks. They were excited about that. They were ready to take that down in a heartbeat. So now that they're realizing that their own problems won't be solved, in fact, they might be exacerbated way worse, now everybody's in their feelings. Pardon me if I feel no sympathy for these folks. These folks who were excited about taking opportunities, taking care, taking rights away from others. So excited, in fact, that they didn't even attempt to read, to discover, to learn what these different things meant, as far as the tariff, as far as the Affordable Care Act, as far as many of the legislation that will keep them protected. Now there's a real possibility of all of that falling away. Now they're getting scared. I'm finding it very difficult to feel any sympathy for people who were gleeful, excited to take other people's care, opportunities, and rights away, and then woke up and realized theirs too were on the chopping block. You get what you pay for.
So I'm finding out that Trump supporters are upset because they're about to lose their health care and their insurance, and their children that are under the age of 26 are about to be kicked off because they voted to repeal the Affordable Health Care Act.
You know, it goes much deeper than that. It's deeper than just not knowing that those two names mean the exact same thing. They built their entire political identity around being in protest. And the real sickness here isn't misinformation. They didn't even know what they were for or what they were against. Well, it's pretty sad.
And they didn't even realize that they were doing this. And I'm going to pretend that they're not racist and they forgot that
Y'all, my name is Derek. My thesis is straight from suicide attempt with a shotgun, but I have prostate cancer, third degree. I lost my insurance 2 months ago. They stopped treatment because I had no way to pay. I'm homeless now. I don't get high. That's one good thing. But I'm in excruciating pain with no way to get medication for it.
And this is under whose administration?
Yeah. The Trump administration took my insurance because I come from a wealthy family. I'm originally from Montgomery County. But,
And what happened to your... Let them know what happened.
Oh, yeah. And this is from the suicide attempt to the shotgun back in 2005. I went through some trauma that I wasn't able to deal with at the time. And I'm here for a reason. Hopefully it's not to die from cancer.
Amen.
But fuck Trump.
Amen.
I voted for Trump because I thought he was funny. Boom! No healthcare. Boom! No more school. Boom! No more life, dude. Also be the same type of people be like, I didn't know he was gonna do this. I didn't know it was gonna be me. I didn't think these policies were gonna affect me.
That's what you voted for.
Short and to the point from these people, and honestly, nothing but honesty. You voted, you checked that box, and now that checkmark has consequences. And those consequences are now staring at you in your living room. And I know that sounds pretty harsh, but empathy without responsibility is just enabling.
What do you We don't read.
She doesn't understand how this is happening because he only talked about Obamacare.
The only thing missing is Francesca Ramsey popping in right now going, me. Oh, I never thought leopards would eat my face. I'm screaming. That's all I gotta say.
Did you guys hear about these adorable little Trumpkins that are upset that the Affordable Care Act is going to be repealed? Because the whole time Trump was saying Obamacare, they thought those were two separate things. Oh, how do I change my vote? Just kidding. I voted Kamala.
I was in the school drop-off and I was standing next to this lady and she goes, I didn't know that Donald Trump wanted to take away the Affordable Care Act. I thought he was just going to get rid of Obamacare and I was all for that. And I paused because I wasn't sure if she was joking or not. And then I say, those are the same thing. They're one and the same. And she goes, well, I didn't know that. And now I don't know if I'm going to have insurance for my kids or for myself.
This is the really tough part. Look, this woman came to pick up her kids and was waiting for him after school. And suddenly she realized that she might have just voted for the wrong thing. And, you know, it could all be funny, but wait a second. There are kids involved here, and they'll need to see a doctor or get some kind of help. And that's actually quite bad because the children are the ones paying the price. You know, politicians and adults made a mess of things, and in the end, it's unclear what's even happening. It's just ordinary, innocent children who might end up suffering.
How are they so uneducated about the things that their presidential candidate wanted to do? Because somehow he baffled all these people into voting against their own interests.
Never thought the leopards would eat my face. No, I never thought it would happen to me. Turn my back on my own kind, but I somehow thought that every fight. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face.
Visit shop.francesca.net to get your Leopards Ate My Face merch.
Fun reminder for anyone who voted for Trump and is now realizing that Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act and how if they repeal it, they can deny you based on pre-existing conditions. COVID is a pre-existing condition.
All of these Trump voters admitting that they didn't realize that Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act when they vehemently hated Obamacare is one of the most openly racist things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't understand how they don't have the critical thinking and the thought process to just know not to say that out loud because of just how simply racist it is that they were so against Obamacare just because they associated it with Obama, which was the point. That's why Republicans coined Obamacare.
She's saying the quiet part out loud. The whole reason the name Obamacare exists is to weaponize political identity against the very people that the policy actually helped. And it worked. This isn't a political failure, it's a failure of critical thinking.
So that racist people would hate it without understanding what it was. And that's exactly what they're admitting happened by saying they hated Obamacare and they thought Trump was going to get rid of Obamacare, but they have the Affordable Care Act and they didn't realize they were the same thing. I wish they could, I don't wish that they would keep it in, but it's insane to me that they don't have the maybe 2 or 3 step thought process that tells them don't share that out loud because you are self-exposing that you are super racist.
Place America first.
Because he focuses on our benefit as a nation.
Was he focusing on our benefit as a nation when he refused to abide by a court order and fund food stamps for the last week of the shutdown, or when he took health care away from 10 million low-income Americans, or passed a big, beautiful bill, which was not only the most expensive bill in this country's history, but is also the largest redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich in modern American history by reducing the purchasing power of the average American making at or under $51,000 per year, which is under 56 million Americans, while increasing it for those making over that dollar amount. Or was he placing America first when the House Republicans refused to divert the $40 billion going to Argentina to fund ACA subsidy credits to keep health insurance low for millions of Americans, compared to the fact that now, because they refused to divert that funding from Argentina to pay for the subsidy, we can expect millions of Americans receiving coverage through the ACA to have their premiums go up by thousands and thousands of dollars per year?
A simple answer, yes.
How is that placing America first?
Well, because if that's going to bring us back to putting us back on the correct tracks, then yes. I mean, right now, I guess what you've
but how
seen
is starving people and either taking their health care away or making it more expensive going to put us back on the right track?
Well, by giving welfare the way it was abused. So, I mean, corrective measures has to be taken.
So this man just said that social benefits need to be adjusted while defending a bill that sent $40 billion to Argentina instead of improving American healthcare. Does he really think that a single mother trying to feed 3 children with benefits is the one at fault here? You just need to look around and realize that the guys you're idolizing are the ones to blame. Tax cuts for billionaires are more important to them than your family's health. So that's a pretty bad thing.
So normally, I wouldn't say that I hope people suffer. But in this instance, the reason I'm saying that is because Trump supporters and MAGA supporters are not going to change their views on an issue until it directly affects them and they feel the pain of that decision. They're going to cheer for this big, beautiful bill until they realize it's their health insurance getting cut, or it's their children that can't be fed because their SNAP benefits got cut. People are going to have to suffer before they're willing to change. The majority of the people that support Donald Trump cannot think critically enough to realize how their decisions are going to affect other people. They just can't do it. You can talk to your blue in the face, but until they feel the strain and the pain of their decisions, will they only make a change in their viewpoints in regards to Donald Trump. Even then, some of them will still support Donald Trump to the bitter end. These are the same people that say they want to protect their kids and they want to protect their daughters.
This is the contradiction that keeps me up at night. Protect the kids, protect the family, but then you go and make a series of questionable decisions. Protection isn't just a bumper sticker on a car. It's about making the right choices. It's reflection. It's having the right mindset. It's when you're about to vote and you actually understand what's on the ballot and then you vote the right way. If you don't analyze things properly, then you're basically just playing a part. Okay, now for the 9th reaction. People often dislike reforms, but love the perks. yet they don't want to look into the details at all. First, you really need to figure out exactly how it's going to affect your entire family. Now, instead of just voting out of spite, you really need to deeply understand the potential harm your vote might cause to yourself or the people around you.
Even though Donald Trump has been accused, incredibly so, of SA I don't know how many times, those are the people that are still going to vote for Donald Trump despite the fact that his values so egregiously show the opposite of what they actually want and believe.
I mean, Donald Trump has made a circus of our political system. He's been running for president for the last decade, since I was 15 years old. I wish I could say that this surprises me. This spending bill, the ways that it prioritizes billionaires lining their pockets while stealing health care from people in our communities, families like mine that rely on it. My mom got a skin cancer diagnosis this year, and because of access, because of Medicaid, was able to get the care she deserved. And we are not in medical debt because of it. I got my care at Planned Parenthood. They're attempting to defund those very same centers when I had no money, no parents, and no insurance. And I've gone toe-to-toe with Republicans here in Arizona, Jeff Flake included, in their efforts to strip that funding from young people like me. I am no stranger to going toe-to-toe with MAGA Republicans in D.C., here in Arizona. And as I look at this political situation, I know that that's the kind of experience we're in.
There's a lot of people baffled about how people didn't understand that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act were the exact same thing. And now that they're experiencing voter regrets, they just don't understand how they came to that conclusion. Oh, I wanted them to get rid of Obamacare, not the Affordable Care Act. I depend on the Affordable Care Act. You want to know why that happened? It's because they're racist. They're racist. All the Republicans had to do was change the name to Obamacare, and it was history.
So a Trump supporter reportedly regrets his decision because he only voted for Trump to get rid of Obamacare, but he wants to keep the Affordable Care Act because that's how he gets his insurance. Not realizing that the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare is one and the same, and that it was only ever called Obamacare by the Republicans to scare Republican voters into thinking it was something else. I've been seeing this comment go around that says, this feels like when Dolores Umbridge took over Hogwarts, and I agree. I agree. Between that person confusing the ACA and Obamacare thinking they're two different things, and his cabinet picks, this is Donald Trump and Dolores Umbridge are the same person. Yep.
If you don't like the president, you don't like the justice system, and you don't like what's going on in this country, why don't you just leave? No one's making you stay here.
Okay, so then do you think Donald Trump should have left when Biden was president?
What do you mean?
Do you think that Donald Trump should have left the country when Biden was president because he didn't like the country? Do you think he should have left the country when Obama was president?
Donald Trump has always loved this country. You don't.
Wait, he said he didn't like the country with Joe Biden trying to destroy the country. He said the country was horrible. He said we were like a quote-unquote third world country.
Yeah, because Biden was in office. Biden, first of all, Biden...
So if he doesn't like the country, then leave, right?
An unemployed Trump voter who said they voted for Trump because he promised to kill Obamacare, but says he hopes Trump keeps his hands off the Affordable Care Act, which he relies upon. Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. Here's what this guy wrote online. He wrote the following, quote, I just voted for him because he's going to kill Obamacare. I am unemployed and Obamacare effing sucks. I'd rather just have the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, by itself instead of this communism shit. And then someone responded to him by saying, Obamacare is the ACA. It is literally keeping you alive. You voted to take away your health care. And then the original poster wrote back, quote, why the F do people have two different names for it? Obama equals bad and affordable equals good. I effing hate Democrats.
So, guys, what did we just watch and what did we see? Before voting for anyone, you need to understand politics and make sure that your vote isn't actually gonna hurt you. And some of the people in these clips didn't fully understand what they were voting for or what was even going on. We have to realize that our health insurance is our life. And I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments about what you think of this whole situation. Maybe you have a different perspective. I'd love to hear it.